in companies, people are not showing emotions. If someone is showing emotions, they name this person weak or emotionally in nature. They promote the ones who are not showing emotions. I think this culture has to change. New generation, that's why they are leaving some of the companies or just complaining about it.
Hi, I'm Mimi Zhang, and this is the Explore with Mimi podcast. In our first series, What If It All Works Out, we're diving into bold stories of people making huge life changes. It's raw, inspiring, and just maybe the nudge you need to take your own leap. Let's explore together. Hey everyone, we have Merve Karakus here. Her and I met in Bali at a co-working space of all places. So, hello Merve.
Hello, Mimi.
A bit of background about her. She actually worked as a bank manager for 12 years in Turkey, in Austria for an international bank, but then she took a break and she started traveling in India and Nepal. During those trips, she attended different 10 to 40-day retreats, and she stayed at a Tibetan Buddhist center for 7 months. And she started taking these courses about Buddhism, positive psychology, and meditation. So then when she went back to Turkey, she decided to focus on mind training and she started teaching meditation. Now she does mindfulness to corporates and individuals. She's also running mindfulness workshops and trainings, both in Turkish and English, and organizing mindful living retreats. And her lifelong motivation is to make mindfulness available to everyone in Turkey. And with that being said, one of the big questions I think anyone would have is what gave you the courage to walk away from a 12-year career in banking and go on this journey in mindfulness? Was there a breaking point?
I think there was. Because my life, I was thinking like at that time, the society, what society asked me to do to be happy. There's a checklist. You graduate from a good university or has a college degree. Then you start working in a big corporate. Then you reach a good salary, maybe some positions like being a manager, and living in a beautiful apartment or house, having the car. So there is a list, which is having a relationship or marriage. There was this list, and at one point I realized that, oh my God, I checked every box on this list. But when I ask myself, am I truly happy? Am I truly satisfied? The answer was no. So in my work life, everything was going very well. I was already a manager, and the bank was investing me for the future higher positions. Like I was in talent groups, and everything was there. But when I asked myself, am I truly happy? And the answer was not. So I come to the point to make a decision. I will stay and depend on antidepressants and medication because, like many other people do, because usually they have mortgage, they have families, so they cannot walk away and ask this question, what will make me happy? But I had this chance, so I said, okay. When I was working in Vienna, my manager at that time was talking about one of his ex former colleague who took a sabbatical for 1 year and walked all through the Alps mountains in Europe. And then after 1 year, she came back and continued at the role. And it was interesting because it's not in practice, this taking a sabbatical 1 year or 2 year off in Turkey. People have usually busy lives and a lot of responsibilities. And I remember, okay, when I was in Vienna, there was this sabbatical idea. I will take 1 year break. I will put all my furnitures to the storage, sell my car, and I have some savings, which I can say, okay, for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, if I don't work, I have the savings and I'm volunteering to spend it, this question. And if I find answers about the meaning of life and everything, then I find answers. If I don't, I will just come back and continue my life as it was before. I was not seeing that much risk at that time. I said, okay, I'm a good employee. When I come back, I can find a job in anywhere. But I wanted to try. This urge was so strong about finding answers to these questions.
Yeah, that's amazing. I kind of thought about the idea of the hero's journey as you were talking about the sabbatical. You're going on this journey to uncover these deeper answers, these questions like meaning in your life, what makes life worth living. Even if you have all these things, you're still not happy. I'm currently also a sabbatical, so it's freaking great.
If you are just thinking about it, if you have a chance,
Yeah, Totally agree. And something that might help the audience is knowing what age you were at that point in your journey, because that can also be very scary for someone. Like you mentioned, someone might have, mortgage, kids, and different expenses they need to take care of. For me, on this current sabbatical, I'm 34. And doing this, other people may also think I'm crazy because I was relatively successful in my career, but decided to take a break. How old were you when you embarked on that sabbatical?
I was 33. Because in Turkey we have college degree. In States, I think you have college and then you have university. But in Turkey we have 4 years college, and usually you start at 17, 18, and when you graduate you are 21.
Mhm.
So I was 21 when I started bank. I was 33, 34 almost.
Okay, about the same time. I was about to turn 34 when I put in my notice at work. Great minds think alike. Did you have any doubts when you were on this journey right before or maybe during it? Because it's such a huge change and there's identity shifts. Who you were before, your identity, maybe it was a lot about work, and then this new identity on your sabbatical. That must have been very,
I had a
yeah.
lot of thoughts. I didn't quit my job and start my journey just in 1 month or something. So I make a decision.
Mhm.
I give myself 1 year ahead to prepare myself
Mm.
mentally. I talk to my managers. I was managing a project that time, running a project. So
Mhm.
I make the project to come at a certain point. So after making the decision, the next 1 year, I was still in the bank. And during this time,
Mm.
my family, my friends already know about my decision. Some of them was just looking at me
Mm.
with really big
Mhm.
eyes. Whether you're doing someone who has
Uh-huh.
already a good career and good salary and everything, why you should do that? When you are not that much self-aware, because at that time I was not taking a lot of therapies, so I
Mm.
was not that
Mhm.
much self-aware like right now. So when you are like
Mhm.
that, the thoughts and sayings about other people can influence you very easily. I was always in doubt, some sleepless nights, and I had to explain myself.
Mhm.
If I do it right now, I'm doing it again. I still had these doubts.
Mhm.
When I start to stay with them, I understand that zero doubt. So I was like, okay, I went
Mhm.
right, doing the right thing, and I want to take more and more of this. That's why I stayed there 7 months.
That's helpful to know. I think one of the challenging parts of the journey is whether some people may be supportive or not supportive of your transition. I think it can be very hard for people to see someone on different levels. One level might be that this person is going after something maybe they want to do secretly, whatever their dream is, and this person's going after it. So there could be that sense of jealousy, or this person is changing so much from their old self. Sometimes people around you might not really like that because the old identity is evolving. Maybe one or two of the beliefs that you had to unlearn during this process. You said the 3 years were challenging. I'm sure you have lots, but if you could share one or maybe two.
In corporate life, they teach us, we learn just to survive there because that's the environment. I say it's you make everything like a project. So if there's a
Mm.
goal and there are certain
Mhm.
things to do, there's a timeline, deadline, and it's a project, and you have to achieve this and that. At the first 2 years, till I meet Tibetans, I approach
Mhm.
this journey to this adventure
Uh-huh.
like a project. I have to do this, do that, learn these answers till this time. I was planning, putting there some goals, some time, and now from there, yeah, I think I call it now a disease. I'm not talking about not being disciplined. Of course, I am on a journey. Of course, there's certain things I want to learn, but it's not something like I'm not a robot. There's no software already downloaded here, and then
Mhm.
just I realized that I was describing myself and my value more on where I work, my title. So the
Mhm.
next day I quit my job. When I meet with new people and they say, "Oh, what
Uh-huh.
do you do?" I was working in a bank. Right now, I don't do anything. I'm just on a journey. looking at me with weird eyes. Then I realized that I was too attached to my good reputation. When I'm on this journey, I leave all the package behind. It was really interesting to unlearn. Right now, I know that I am already valuable. I am already
Mhm.
being a human being is enough just to feel valued and worth. But at that time, I didn't know what mind is, what how things exist. Who am I really indeed? After Buddhist journey, I learned all about this, and that's why it was really interesting to unlearn being nobody. When sometimes my students comes to me or people ask me about my journey, I said, okay, you should be ready to be Mr. or Mrs. Nobody for a while, and you should really make peace
Mhm.
with this. It was hard to unlearn this stuff.
All those things that you said really resonated, especially in the Western world where I like spent most of my time growing up. A lot of it is about productivity. We do a lot of things in projects, project focus with my job or in school was kind of that thought process. I think with some of the creative endeavors I'm working on, I'm trying to just feel more in the flow instead of thinking about it in the project. But right now, it's more of a balance of both. But I haven't got to the point where everything is not a project yet. And the other thing about our identity being tied to our job, I think that's quite a common thing. And especially when you kind of rise up in corporate, there's a lot of status and ego and obviously the money that comes with it. But I think that first and foremost, like health is the thing that I've figured out is probably the most important because if you don't have health, you don't have anything. And then that also constitute like mental health, physical health.
When
And
mom was saying that you make a decision like this, you will maybe spend all your savings, I said, look, mom, I need to make a decision. The first
yeah.
alternative is to be too hospitalized because of my mental health. So I continue this lifestyle, but I go to psychiatry and stay there for some months just to recover from what's happening to me right now, or you just leave me to have this journey. Yeah, I chose my mental health. Both my physical and mental health was going really rapidly down. So I make a decision, and I'm very happy that I did right now.
That's great. I think there's potentially a third dimension of health that I kind of recently stumbled upon energetic health. But I feel like that probably ties into mental and physical. So your energetic health is probably really
Yeah,
high too.
because when you earn your life from something that's really meaningful, when
Mm-hmm.
you find your true calling, and then you start to get surrounded automatically with people
With
who have the same.
energy and vibration.
Yeah. And then when all this comes together, then you're happy because you're not going to work with a ache in your stomach. You say you are free. I don't even have to wake up at a certain time because I do my own job.
Uh-huh.
So
That's great.
when all this comes together, then it's easier to be healthy. As you said, the energetic health is also there.
And how would you define mindfulness in your own words?
A teacher called Armstrong. His definition was being aware, of awareness. So the realizing or being aware what is going on with you at the moment while you're experiencing it. Like when
Mm.
you just look around and say, oh, now my eyes see these colors and shapes. Now my ear hears different sounds. Now with my body, I feel the temperature of this environment. I feel like my hair is touching my
Mm.
skin. For instance, if I take sip from my tea, then I have the taste, then I have the smells and everything. I am being aware of the environment through my senses, but this is not the only part of mindfulness. Also, being aware of what is going on with you. So whatever
Mm.
happens outside Mimi, we experience in this around this triangle. One of my teachers said for the thoughts, because sometimes people are mixing thoughts and emotions. It's if digital, let's say, a screen, what would us see and read? They will see inside self-talk. They will see some pictures. These are thoughts. Emotions are slower and they are more related with our mood. They are more in the body. So the triangle of awareness is thoughts, emotions, which is in our mood, one or few emotions usually we have at the same time, and the body sensations. The first step of mindfulness, being aware what is going on at the moment, both in my, it comes to resilience and stress reduction, then it comes to which thoughts are passing through my mind right now, which emotions I am feeling right now, and what is going on in my body. Even when it comes to stress reduction, we do more after this awareness, but even naming it, like saying that, I am having thoughts, saying I have the emotion of loneliness, a little bit of anger. And when I turn to my body, I feel there is a little bit painful sensation on my chest and my hands are sweating. Even when I name my experience like this, Mimi, when we name something, in our brain, the frontal cortex is getting in charge, because the frontal cortex is the sapient part of our human brain. Thinking, making a decision, comparing the things, the information. Even when we name it, we start to feel that reduction on our stress and our overwhelming experience. So, mindfulness, in short, just being aware of what is going on with us at the moment we are experiencing it.
That can actually be quite difficult sometimes to like sit with it and then categorize it. The labeling does help. And I've noticed when I've done that in the past, therapy was my first introduction to what do you feel in your body. It's very strange when I'm stressed or anxious. An example, maybe it will manifest in tingling on my legs and my arms for some reason. But labeling it, understanding that you can have not just one emotion, you can feel like anger, you could feel like sadness, you could feel frustration. For someone who has never really done anything with mindfulness before and they're stressed, they're overwhelmed, what's one simple thing they could do to practice that first step of mindfulness as a very beginning?
If they want to learn these skills, it's very important. An MBSR course, Mindfulness Based Stress Reduction. It's available online, and a lot of great teachers are doing it. It's 8-week course, like in total, like 26, 28 hours. Can you imagine? You just invest 28, the group system, and you learn everything about mindfulness, not conceptually, but practically. So the first thing I recommend is this, because when they attend the course, they will have learned tons of meditations and tons of informal practices. The course I recommend to everyone. When they feel stressed, what they can do, they can feel the sole of their feet touching to the ground.
The sole of their feet. Okay.
And the gravity always make the things more heavier. We are sitting or just walking, so the sole of our feet is usually touching to the ground, just feeling the sensations of the sole of the feet. Because when we are too stressed, we lost connect with our body. This is here, but we are so much in thoughts that we are not connected with the body. But when we feel the sole of the feet, one of my teachers said, I said, why sole of the feet? Why not hands? Why not others? He said that because the sole of the feet never gets angry. Because there are not so much emotions, and it makes us realize that we are at this place right now, making us to return to the body. That this is the first thing. The second, taking few deep breaths. Stress, our brain get into survival mode. When we are in survival mode, the orders to the brain is like you have to fight, flight, or freeze. Our brain, the amygdala, just prepare our body to fight, freeze, or escape from this situation. But when we take few deep breaths, we send to our nervous system the message, look, if there's a real danger, do you think that I will stop and take few deep breaths because I have to run?
I'm trying to do it right now.
So sole of the feet, taking few deep breaths. The second one they should do, leaving the story a little bit aside and asking themselves, what's happening in my body? Again, it's interesting. Like my shoulders are tight right now, and I feel that I'm sweating. Just these things we can realize. With practice, it will be more easier to name what is going on in the body. The first step, sole of the feet, taking few deep breaths. The second, just scanning the body and just naming what is going on in the body. The third one is very interesting, Mimi. It's acceptance. What we will say to accepting what is going on at this moment, naming it. We say, not loud, but with the inner voice, we say, this is a very difficult moment. Right now, I'm struggling. I'm having a difficult moment. And that's accepting that this is happening. Because one of the things what we do when we suffer, when we just face with the difficulties, what we do is to try to push it. We don't want it, we want to feel in a different way. We are just pushing it away. We are not accepting that this is happening. And with our mind, we are trying to find the solution to stop this feeling. But even the Buddhist teachings say there is suffering. So when we accept suffering, when we say, yeah, I'm struggling right now, this is happening. What can I do? It's happening right now. When you say it, again, your brain starts to calm down, okay? And the next thing you can do, so I said, okay, this is hurting. I'm struggling right now, having a bad moment. I just name it. And then I look around and try to find something maybe pleasant or maybe just going all right. Just looking around. The light coming from this window, it really looks nice. The plant has a new leaf or a new flower, and it looks nice. The smell of my coffee is looking nice. That's it. Okay,
Something
sit.
positive. Yeah.
Pull off the feet, few deep breaths, and then scanning the body, and then saying that hard moment, and just looking around. Why we finish with this practice? Because our mind is, we say, biased to the negativity. When there's something going pleasant, it just doesn't make a connection with it because it's not related to survival. Oh, it's happening there. My coffee smells so good, but what is it? But when there's something even slightly going wrong, we start to think about it like a lot. We are exaggerating the negativity of this stuff. But finishing this practice with something, realizing that something is going right now, or is a little bit of, well, let's say, giving us a sense of pleasure.
That makes me think about high pressure work environments where there could be a lot of positive changes if companies implemented more mindfulness practices. Let's say if there's a high pressure work environment, what types of smaller changes that you would suggest a company implement to help their employees feel
Company,
better, productive?
in companies, people are not showing emotions. If someone is showing emotions, they name this person weak or emotionally in nature. They promote the ones who are not showing emotions. I think this culture has to change. New generation, that's why they are leaving some of the companies or just complaining about it. We are vulnerable when it comes to the life and human experience and emotions. And interestingly,
Yes.
Brené Brown speak about this a lot. When we accept our vulnerability and when we learn self-regulation and soothing ourselves at the moment of suffering or difficult emotion, we become more courageous. We take more risk. Most of the people, Mimi, are not taking risks or just attending to this project, taking a risk, changing company, because when the change happens, they knew that there will be some difficult emotions too, and they don't know how to
Oh,
cope with this.
I haven't
Already
thought of
have
that.
skills. If you already have the skills, okay, when I make the change, maybe there will be difficult emotions, but I have the skills for self-soothing myself, self-encouraging myself. I have these skills. So why change? Because these feelings are in this scenario or in another scenario, I will have these feelings till end of my life. So why not try new things? It makes you more courageous. And when you're more courageous, you are taking more risk. And when you have the self-soothing skills, you don't struggle in one emotion or one situation that much. You say that this is being a human. This is shared human experience. I have the skills to help myself. When they do that, the length of this hard, difficult experience gets shortened. You realize that the quality of your attention incredibly. You can concentrate on the thing without any distraction. When we are talking about high pressure environments, how to achieve a lot of things going on, I think they need more inner calmness and skills of self-soothing and self-help. Will deliver even more, I think.
That makes a ton of sense. I was thinking about the first half of the answer where we were talking about how vulnerability, emotions aren't really like shown in the workplace. I'm glad that's starting to change, especially I think with a younger generation coming in. I'm understanding that one of the things companies can do better is to create that like safe space for emotions and for vulnerability to happen. I feel like a lot of times when you work corporate, it's like a facade that you have to kind of put on, or you have to communicate a certain way, and there's certain norms. Even when I was working corporate, it didn't feel completely natural to operate that way. And I felt like I had to be very masculine from my experience.
We are pretending, we are playing roles. What if in our personal and in our corporate life, work, personal life, what if we stop pretending one another? What if we, everybody be real? Everything will be so easier. If everybody in a kind way, compassionate way, just tell their own truth, their own feeling, I think everything will be much easier. We can be real. I have a personal story about this. When I was 20, there was a junior management role because I was a specialist that time, and there was a junior management role. And my manager at that time, we worked very short with her. When the assistant general manager, at the board level, he recommended, why Merve is not a candidate? My manager said, because I cried only once in the office because it was a really difficult day for me, said, no, she cannot do that because she doesn't have emotional control. Can you imagine? You work for many years, you are a high performer, and only one day cried in the office in front of the team because you were having a hard day and it was not a emotional breakdown. Even if it is emotional breakdown, what is the importance, you know? So one emotion, one moment, or one day of you is just using as a decision making point and just deleting everything you did till your career and just stopping you to get the promotion. Can you imagine that? So this should stop. This is very interesting. This should stop. At that time, I really had suffered and get really unhappy with this. I felt like I'm late because I had to take this position because I was the high performer. And right now, that's why I'm advocating it. So don't make big decisions about people on the human vulnerability. You know, we are bigger than one emotion. We are bigger than one hard time or hard period of our life. We are bigger than that. Don't put in the trash everything what this person did just because of one emotion or one hard day or even a hard period in his or her life. I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, it's not fair to judge someone on like one incident. And also, it's it's okay to express emotion, and I do feel like companies should provide more of that safe space for people to express their emotion. I think professional way ideally, but I don't think people should be judged
And
for one.
when there's something like an overwhelmed moment, this person can live it. It's not because it's momentary. If someone around
Mm.
me to me at that moment say, you know what, crying sometimes is a good thing. There's a saying, when you cry, you clean the windows of your eyes. Just cry because your nervous system is
Let it
too
out.
stressed right now
Hmm.
and want to take it
Hmm.
out with the tears. It's okay. Just cry. Take this day off. Go and whatever.
Hmm.
This should be done to this person who is, and the next day he or she will wake up and then come to office like no, because everything is passing. There's impermanence.
That was very interesting. So thanks for sharing a personal moment. One question I do have for someone that has a lot of drive and ambition and hustle, how would they balance that with mindfulness? I think you alluded to it. Maybe they have to have like the inner sense of calm, but how do you reconcile these
You know,
things with
I
mindfulness?
recommend these people to have a daily meditation practice. Meditate 30 minutes, 40 minutes a day. And when you don't meditate the next day, you see the big difference in your inner calmness, in your
Mhm.
judgment, in your, let's say, energy, in your focus. So, what these
Mm.
people need, which will make this easier, this hustling journey, is all of these qualities: good attention, good judging skills, and inner calmness, and not having big waves during the day. More when you don't
Mhm.
practice, you have this, and then emotions and everything will goes like this. But when you practice, they are going more slower, and the waves are more softer. So I recommend them 30, 40 minutes of mindfulness practice. And it's easy because there's an app, Inside Timer. I just love it.
Mhm.
It's free and lots of free meditations there. They can just go on. Even they can lay down and do body scan. They don't need to have the skills or anything. Voice recordings already have good guidance. So what I recommend them, have a daily meditation practice, then you will see the big difference. First of all, we should stop emphasizing and doing the marketing of these 5 a.m. clubs. Okay, this 5 a.m. club, they wake up at 5 a.m. They do the gym, go to the gym, they read the newspapers, then they come to the office, they sleep only 5 hours a day, and then they are very productive. And in the evening, they go to the dinner with the customers. When they describe this, I say, okay, this maybe represents 1%, 2%, okay, 3% of the human beings. Maybe they have this skill, ability automatically at themselves already there. But taking this 2, 3% and making it like a goal or something to achieve for the other people should really stop. In a Tibetan monastery, one student said, my master is so amazing. He can go without sleeping and eating for days. The other student says, my master is so wise. He sleeps when he's sleepy and he eats when he's hungry. So, what is the wisdom? Is it something we say it in a good way? I sleep 5 hours a day. I do a lot of stuff. I go to the gym. I'm having this lifestyle. So this should really stop. We should listen our body. And for instance, for me, it's 8 hours sleep. If I sleep 7.5 hours, I feel really not productive. I have to sleep 8. I have to stop listening to these people who are telling me what to do. I have to listen to my body and just be wise, understand that, realize that I'm living in a human body, and this human body have different needs. So we are not interested in other people's stories or abilities or what they do. We focus on ourselves. This is the first thing. The second thing, they can just give it a shot just during the weekend. Don't check your emails. Don't look at your phone or social media that much. But really had a good rest, not resting and watching Netflix. Okay, watch a little bit Netflix, maybe 1 hour. Then go to a hiking. Go to do something which is different. Go to an exhibition, a culture sense. Do different stuff which will really make you distant from your routine. Spend these 2 days. For instance, on Sunday, just try this till the lunchtime. From the moment you wake up till the lunchtime, practice silence. It means that you don't with anyone, you don't write, you don't read. You prepare very slowly your breakfast, have your tea, and sit in the corner, just silent. Okay. Watch the clouds. One of my teachers said you can spend 1 hour just looking slowly every line in your hand. Do you know you are living in your body, but do you know all the lines in your hand? Doing this, and they will see on Monday morning when they come back to the work their productivity, their attention, they will see the work differently. If they want to be productive, they have to rest like this. When they do it even 1 weekend, they will see the difference.
What I'm hearing is that having a daily meditation practice is going to help us be more present and have that stronger sense of inner calmness. So these waves of emotions, they're going to be more gentle. The other point you mentioned is that we need to listen to our body and pay attention to it, because how one person functions best might not be ideal for another person. In terms of self-compassion, how can we cultivate more self-compassion to ourselves?
I teach Christine Neff and Christopher Germer's Mindful Self-Compassion program. They have several books. Anyone interested in self-compassion can have Christine or Chris's books. The first thing we do in the first session, an exercise mimic called How Would I Treat to a Friend? We close our eyes and imagine that our friend has a bad moment. and he or she is feeling not enough, or having a moment like maybe not succeeded in something very important for them, having a very bad moment and feeling bad about themselves. We say, what will you say to a good friend? We say, I would say him or her, you can try again. It's normal. These things happens in human life. I know that you can do it. So we encourage, we just give care to our friend with our words, with motivation, with support. And then scenario continues. It says that, okay, now imagine that you are living the same moment. What you would say to yourself. So for my friend, it's normal. For me, it's not normal. For my friend, it's temporary. For me, it's not temporary. For my friend, it's like light. For me, it's catastrophe. So there's a difference in our perception. First, this is the first thing. The second thing, we think, I think what we have in deep these thoughts, if I be compassionate and gentle to myself, I cannot reach to goals because I want discipline. But people don't know that we can, at the same time, we can be compassionate and disciplined at the same time. These two can exist at the same time. Imagine I had bad grades in math. I come home and my parents, one of my parents, me like this. It's again, we pay a lot of for the private classes. So it's not happening. Just criticizing us. Okay. And in the second scenario, the parent just approached to the kid, you know what, it's I think you're feeling really bad right now. You're having a hard time. Are you hungry? Do you want to drink something? So we drink something like hot, or we have a meal, and then say, I know this is important for you because you have goals. So how can I support you? What do you think we should change or do in a different way to make you reach that goal? So there are two different attitudes. The first one is like critical and emotionally disconnected, and then creating more stress in this human being. So when we want to learn more, we need our nervous system. When we are in survival mode, we cannot learn, Mimi, because learning, enjoying, discovering, these are the things belongs to the relax mode, safe mode of the nervous system. Because when we are in survival mode, our abilities are just cutting down. So why we have it? Because we raised like that. Our parents and all the environment think that criticizing and being harsh on ourselves will make us to the reach to the goals. There is no other way. And all the message coming from outside when we are growing up was like, you need to change to be accepted and to be loved. In self-compassion, we says this is not negotiable. We are already capable, lovable. We are already acceptable. We belong wherever we go. This is not negotiated with anyone. But we still want change. I still want the good grades in math, but I want to be motivated not from a critical, emotionally disconnected and always criticizing and nothing is enough style of motivation. I want to get motivated with love. Someone is like self compassion is, we say, mama bear inside us, reparenting ourselves. Imagine there's someone not in front of me but nearby me holding my hand, saying that, you know what, I love you so much. I will never leave this hand. You are very important to me, but I can see that you are suffering. And I will be here to support you with this change. And we will do it together. We are in this together. Which one you want? You want someone who is criticizing and making you more stressed and always giving you the message that you have to be you have to change to be accepted and to be loved, or you want someone who says you're already acceptable and loved. There's no doubt on this. But I still want you to change, support your change because I know how this is important for you. But we will do it with love. Okay, we will do it with a positive attitude. So self compassion is basically doing that, putting a mama bear here. This is a Kristen Neff's analogy, a metaphor. Putting a mama bear here. Have you ever seen mama bears how they're acting? Because even the loved ones, they give presents like a teddy bear. The bear is also a sign of love because it's fluffy, it's big. When it hugs, it feels good. But at the same time, Bears are very strong. When it comes to protecting their kids, they are like sometimes standing and showing their body, how big they are, showing their nails, just saying that, and then sometimes roaring. So imagine there is a mama bear here. When we are emotionally having hard times, just embracing us with the love and the warmth and compassion. But when we need to act in the world, just saying no to other people more, but saying yes to our needs, living with the attitude of demanding, but at the same time motivating us with love. So I think self compassion is holding a mama bear in your chest all the time. When you practice self compassion, Mimi, I say to my students, when you get confused about what to do, just imagine what if a real mama bear would say in this moment. Because when you ask like that, what would a mama bear will do, or the answer is clear. There's no confusion. Mama bear always knows what to do. And actually, we have a practice called soothing touch. We just do this or hold our hand, because when we touch ourselves in this way, there's a hormone released called oxytocin, which is love hormone, and it immediately start to soothe us.
When you started talking about Mama Bear, I immediately thought about how you were the Mama Bear of the crew we hung out with in Bali. You would take care of us. So self-compassion as the Mama Bear inside of us, reparenting and soothing ourselves. I love that metaphor as it evokes kindness, gentleness, warmth, and care. We can definitely be our worst critic. I think it can be a skill to learn over time. If a person is used to criticizing themselves to motivate action to happen, it is possible to motivate ourselves with love and with curiosity rather than fear and shame. Where can we find your teachings and what are your plans for the future?
I already did something. I put no, it's four different Udemy courses. The first one, which already have 5,000 students. Mindfulness for stress management, mindfulness for emotional resilience, mindfulness for difficult emotions. So I have four trainings there. There are a lot of students who are already doing this. And also a mindful meditation app in Turkish, which is affordable. It's already live, but needs some marketing. There are more than 250 different meditation. I think more digital, going digital. I would love to do some projects with the government, with the state, reach more schools, because you can't imagine how children learn mindfulness fast, faster than the adults, because they already have some of these skills. Tibetan says, sometimes criticizing Western people, saying that you teach everything in the school, but not teach people how to be happy. There's no happiness. But when you start to teach at the school level, maybe primary, secondary, it will have a big change. I wish in the future the government or institutions will have more interest and contact me or with other teachers, and we can do some more things in the schools.
Is there anything that I haven't asked that I should have asked?
I enjoyed so much about our conversation. There's nothing I want to, I should tell more about this and that. I know there is suffering in the world. When Buddha enlightened, first thing he teach about the Four Noble Truths. And the first thing is there's suffering. Sometimes people say, Buddhists talk about suffering a lot. Buddhists talk about accepting suffering. When we accept suffering, we have room to practice more compassion and kindness. When I met with Tibetans, maybe this is the first thing I realized. It has a shocking effect on me how ethical, how kind and compassionate they are. We have a huge potential as human beings. We can transform our minds and we can find happiness in any condition. If we are in corporate life, because there are human beings around, so we can still, in Buddhism, we say skillful means, upaya. You realize the conditions and you make the best out of the conditions if you cannot change. So if you cannot change your conditions because you have responsibilities, there is no need to stuck there and to spend all our life like in a bad mood. But we can say, okay, this is my life. I can accept my life and then I can do the best out of it. If people are interested, They don't need to convert to Buddhism. It's okay. They can learn about this psychology, read books, try to understand their formula for happiness, and they can start applying this to their lives. They will see a big difference. Sometimes, still, it's 8 years, and still my mom says, "What? Spend the money. With the money you spend, you will buy an apartment in Istanbul." I said, Mama, if I bought this apartment, I will be really sad and crying inside this house. But I'm free and happy. I'm not broke, but I spent all my savings.
It's amazing that you got to go on the sabbatical and start your journey. You and I are both lucky in that way. For someone who's listening, who wants to take that time off and take a sabbatical, what are some steps they could take towards this goal?
What they can do when we are in this lifestyle, unhappy but stuck in a corporate job or other thing, what we do, most of us, spending more money on the things that we don't need just to have this satisfaction. When I was in the bank, I bought the same shoe, the same color, the same brand, the same shoe, exact same shoe to one. Because on the weekends I feel unhappy and not satisfied. I'm not happy with my life. So what I do is going to mall and checking the shops. And I bought the same shoe twice. The first one was there at home, but I didn't wear it. I forgot about it and bought the second one. Only what I earned just to have momentary satisfaction. So what will I suggest? Just not jumping in some scenario which will make them, how to say, fearful and in survival mode, but making a good plan. Just putting there like maybe 1 year, 2 years money that they can survive, and 2 years have a backup plan, and then going on a journey, even not a journey, an adventure. Okay, I'm interested in yoga. I will go on 1 year yoga adventure. I will go to India, go to Bali, I will go these places and making a plan. They will see, even if they don't find the answer, they will have a very good time. There's a nurse who wrote a book, I don't remember her name, interviewing the people on the deathbed, already dying. And most of them has regrets not taking risks. So if they have the chance, if they have the sources, just giving this 1 year break, they can be sure after 1 year they come back and they will find everything at the same. Nothing is running away or going or changing. After 8 years, when I go to the bank, I see the same people, the same offices, the same chair there. It's fine.
Totally agree on making a plan to save money for 1 to 2 years. That way, financially, you can feel secure.
Exactly. Even making some changes right now for their dreams. For instance, I have some friends, they want to do the same thing that I do, but they say that, you know what, I want to live in this district. I cannot live any apartment which has less than 2 bedrooms. I say sometimes we are attached too much in certain level of lifestyle. We can be happy. I'm in one room right now with one luggage. It's now 6 months. I'm the happiest. I can see that I need so little. And before to Bali and Chiang Mai, Thailand, I was living in a 3 bedroom apartment near the sea, strict, so fancy. Now I realize I was happy there, but I'm happy here too. With one luggage, everything is there. I can see that I don't need that. So they can just start to think that, do I really need this? Maybe going to minimal life, and they will see immediately that they don't think that much. And when you have a minimal life, it means that you have a lot of money because you don't need to spend money for the lifestyle. And when you have a lot of money, you can do whatever you want and take a break.
Last but not least, where can we find you online and on social media?
I have a website, I have a LinkedIn page, but the most accessible and most active I am at Instagram. Instagram is a thing in Turkey. That's why I have an Instagram page. They can just click the links and check. But unfortunately, all my content is in Turkish, but they can use Google Translate. There are some blog posts, some Instagram posts. If they're interested, they can just Google Translate.
Thank you, Merve. It was great having you on the podcast. Even listening to you talk is very soothing. We covered how to practice everyday mindfulness, how to bring out the mama bear inside of us so we can be more self-compassionate, and how to get past an overwhelming moment when it happens.
Thank you so much, Mimi, for inviting me. I enjoyed so much. I hope you did too. I hope anyone who is listen or watch this part, our session, will enjoy, will benefit a little bit. I hope we give you some food for thought and some courage.
That's it for this episode of Explore with Mimi. If today's story got you thinking, laughing, or maybe even planning your next big leap, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with a friend. It might be just what they need too. Remember, no matter where life takes you, what if it all works out? I'll see you next time.